So what was the first story that you were able to tell through this DVD series?
The first story that we did was The Journey of Henry Box Brown, which is a true story of a slave named Henry Brown who literally mailed himself to freedom. True story.
It's crazy.
True story.
Crazy.
In a box. He had a box made for him. He got inside. They closed it, nailed it shut, and applied postage and sent him on his way.
And when was this? What?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the exact year, but it was a 27-hour journey from a wagon to a boat, a train, a boat, all of this, you know, and it was a pretty confined space as well. And well, my mother told me the story. She was a librarian at the time, and this is back when I was working on Fresh Prince. And she headed the Black Resource Center at the library she worked at, and she would call me and tell me stories that she came across that were really interesting to her. And she told me the story of Henry Box Brown, as he was called afterward, and I was fascinated. I couldn't believe the story, but I really couldn't believe I had never heard it before. And I would tell my friends, and my friends hadn't heard it. And I thought, well, this is such an obvious story for kids. I mean, this man in a box traveling, and what he does to overcome his obstacle, this incredible obstacle of being a slave and being fed up. And so that story really was the impetus for the whole thing. That was the one that got me. And when she would call me and tell me about people, I would write them down. I would go research and find other people. And I started making notes because I wanted to have a book series for kids. But I kept putting it away and going back to my job and my stuff. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my daughter that I started talking a lot about it, because I was thinking about my responsibility to her. And I started talking a lot about Henry Box Brown, and my husband finally said, "You need to stop talking about this. You need to get moving. This is important. This is good." And you know, he's an independent filmmaker, so he doesn't wait.
That's good.
He just does it.
Yes, we're a lot like that here at Butterfly.
It's good. It's a lot of power in that. And so I did. I started asking questions and talking to people, and I found that people were so willing to help, offer their help or their resources. People that I knew in one regard for years, I would tell them what I was doing, and they would say, "Well, wait a minute, I know someone who this, or I also do this." You know, I would start finding out that the people that I had in my Rolodex that I knew as an actress, so many of them were willing or able to help me push this along.
Now, you had mentioned Queen Latifah had helped you.
Yeah, Queen Latifah. I've worked with Queen Latifah a couple of times before, but it was Will who said, you know, says Latifah has to do one of these. She has to do it. And he saw Garrett's gift, and he said she has to do this. Oh. And she did. Yeah, and she made that phone call, and she did it.
It sounds like your mom was very instrumental in, I guess, this awakening that you had when you were able to take a step back. What type of role model was she to you?
My mom?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
she sounds like a remarkable woman.
She is. She's an incredible woman. My first memories of my mom was like she was this incredible, you know, Cleopatra Jones looking, like, you know, afroed woman. She's tall, statuesque, and as a young girl, I was like, wow, you know, she's so beautiful, and she's like this, you know, incredible woman, and she for me, you know, growing up, she, with my dad not liking it, she went back to school. And
so she was ahead of her time.
Yeah, he thought that it was all this, you know, women's lib stuff, and for her, she said it wasn't anything like that. Wasn't what was informing her. Although who knows, subconsciously maybe that was helping her feel stronger and giving her some strength. But she did. She felt really strong about going back to school, and she did. She went to USC and UCLA, and came away feeling like a much better woman. I mean, she took care of me, and was such a huge supporter of mine always. You know, I wanted to dance, I wanted to act, and she was, you know, didn't have very much money, and she was working over what I needed to go to classes for things or supplies, and she was always there, you know, on Fresh Prince. She was there every Friday for the tapings. She's by far my biggest supporter, and she supports me and helps me with Blackberry too. She's great.
I love that.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.